Did you see the fireworks last week? A couple days ago? Most of us did. As they blazed across the sky, they lit the land down below. Likewise, in Psalm 36, David declares God's brilliance which lights all of creation and all of redemption. Now think how the night serves as the stage upon which the beautiful fireworks display plays out. Likewise, David uses the darkness of man's sin as the backdrop that makes God's greatness appear to us most glorious. Thus, David first paints the picture of pride in verses 1 through 4. With the stage set, he then proclaims God's perfections in 5 through 6. He calls us to experience God's grace in 7 through 9. He shows us how to plead for God's protection in 10 through 11. Finally, David declares the destruction of the depraved in verse 12. Now consider carefully the contrast that David displays. Look at the proud man of verses 1 through 4. His eyes are blind to God's holiness. They are blind to his own unholiness. His heart is stopped with sin. His mouth pours forth lies. His head is empty of wisdom and goodness. His bed is where he plots and plans. His path is the crooked road to nowhere. Now behold the brightness of God in verses 5 through 9. Do you see the sky above? God's grace is higher. Do you see the clouds up there? His trustworthiness stretches past them. Do you behold the mighty mountains? His righteousness is greater. Have you taken a swim in the deep ocean? His judgments are deeper. You might think that God's grandeur would scare David, would scare the psalmist, but it is just the opposite. For instead of being destroyed with God's dread, David finds in him his only perfect peace. Do you? You should. For this psalm leads God's people to find their rest and refuge in his perfect power. Therefore, if you look at that picture of the proud man and you see a picture of yourself, confess your sin. Confess that you deserve destruction with that proud man, and yet take hold of God's forgiving grace. Take hold of it in Christ. If you are burdened down with circumstances at work or at home or at school, if you have more on your plate than you can handle, find your safety under the shadow of Yahweh's wings. If you have more in your house than you really need, let God's house be your true treasure. If you've had fun in the sun this summer, make God's pleasure your perfect and only comfort in life that is forever. If you are brought down into dark places, let His light fill your soul until you see Him in His brilliant justice, and saving mercy. Pray for His love to be with you always, for this is His promise to the people whom He loves eternally. And plead for Him to protect you from the proud, for all who trust in Him will not fall with the wicked who stumble never to rise.